Welcome and welcome back, everybody, to the OK Grognard Show. Today is Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, 10 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Today we're going to look at the player character starting money section from the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's really just a bit of advice, not a lot in regard to mechanics. You know, in the player's handbook, they've got a section on how to roll up starting money for the various character classes. But this isn't about that. We can look at that some other time. I may have looked at it in the past, actually. If I have, I'll link to it. If not, sometime in the future we'll get into it. But, it's basically you roll these dice to get your starting gold, and so it's a range from this to this for each class. This, however, is about, what is it? There it is. Let's have a look at it. It'll be interesting to go through frame by frame and get some idea what it's all about. You know what? I need to bigify it for myself over here. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll do this. Nope. I can just change it over here so that I can get a better look at it. That's what we'll do. Left screen it. Yeah, money. It's in the money section of the Dungeon Master's Guide. On page 25, starts at the bottom of the left column and finishes on the top of the right. And it says, player character starting money. The amount of funds which each player begins with is kept low to prevent the game from becoming too easy. Players learn from the beginning that they are never able to obtain all of the goods they would like in order to feel safe and satisfied. Explain to players that sums they begin with, Player's Handbook Money section I just referenced, represent inherited monies and savings. A magic user, for example, has had to expend most ready cash he or she possesses on training. Monks are ascetics who don't care much about material possessions in any event, so they don't need to accumulate much money prior to becoming adventurers and treasure seekers. I always thought that was a bit of a strange dichotomy, a bit of a contradiction, that they don't care much about that, but they will choose a life of adventuring and treasure seeking. So I don't know that that's not problematic. I don't use monks in my campaign anyway. If, he continues, you have a difficult campaign, and you opt to bestow a limited number of special items to player characters at the beginning of the game, a potion, a magic goodie such as a +1 dagger, or even something as mundane as a family suit of plate mail, you should adjust the starting money accordingly. The game is always supposed to be a challenge, to cause players to want for something and to wish to adventure with their characters in order to obtain the desired things. Remember that good players will be able to gain from nearly any successful encounter. There will always be some armor and weapons or equipment to be gained from an adventure. You should not hesitate to be stingy and tight right from the beginning of the campaign. So what are we saying about our people there when we're saying we're going to be stingy all the time? I guess part of that is that the idea that it's up to the DM not just to make sure they don't put too much in, but to make sure they never have too much access to large quantities of money as they continue. The idea that a campaign has just endless wealth no matter where they go and adventure, and they're just constantly dragging in sacks of treasure every time they come back from an adventure is not what D&D is about, according to Gary. It's a little less wealthy out there for the taking. And there are other sections of the DMG where Gary talks about how to get money off of players if they accumulate too much, and that's important too. But I think this is a section, because it's in the DMG and not in the player's handbook, that players are generally unfamiliar with, and so they don't think about the fact that DMs have to, and we're going to use that word balance that a lot of people say doesn't exist in early games and old school rules, but there it is again. If balance is not a factor, then why do we have to limit the funds? I mean, it makes it more challenging, but not without reason, and that reason is balance. You have to maintain that balance to make it more challenging. So when people eschew the idea of balance in old school rules, I think they're totally missing what's really going on with the games. Hey, you know what else? I wanted to mention something else while I was talking about things today, and that is this Kickstarter, which I think has, 33 hours to go? There it is. Tom Tullis, Fat Dragon Games, has this Crypt Classics miniatures. These are STL files for FDM printers, 3D printable supportless miniatures, and terrain design. So they're designed to come clean off the plates, and it's doing very well. Some of these miniatures, well, you should just go and have a look at it, and I will definitely include this link in the show notes. Hey, I also want to mention, sadly, Jason Rocky Gardner has had his cancer return after 5 years. He fought a good fight, and he's fighting it still, or again, however you want to look at it, but he could use some help dealing with it financially. This is Jennifer Glazer's set this up for Kendra Gardner, and of course for Jason. So Rocky, as everyone knows him. So, you know, if you can help out with that, that would be a good thing too. So I'll put both links in the show notes and ask people to check them out at their leisure. In any event, this was a look at the DMG section on player character starting money, just to reiterate how balance and being stingy with treasure and money is always a good thing, according to Gary. And if you think about it, it makes good sense. So this has been the OK Gargnard Show for Wednesday, November 19th. I appreciate everybody who popped in and checked it out. The show streams live on Twitch each Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, and then it's archived on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, check them all out. You can support the channel even at the free level on Patreon, and join such illustrious folk as Tom Tullis of Fat Dragon Games, Carlos Lysing of Castle Entertainment, Heath Farndon of the D&D 20, Dave O'Brien, unauthorized user, Dethangel Shadow, Heidi and Eric Gygax Garland of Gaxland, Vince Ragusa of the Maroon Room, Daniel Caldwell of Griffin and Gargoyle, Martin Thomas of Daddy Rolled a One, a excellent YouTube channel for first edition and early D&D information, Christian Garcia, Stephanie Lesniewski-Gruchow, Cera Toppilopkus, Colin Szablewski, and as always, Shane Bradley, DM Extraordinaire. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Thank you, and bye-bye.